Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melone.
Hello, everyone. I am Sophia Melonē, the Debt Demolisher, here to bring you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you manage your financial baggage the right way. What an honor and privilege it is to be before you all on tonight's live stream as we continue our conversation, as we take the book, The Wealth Choice by Dr. Dennis Kimbro, 10 pages at a time. We have been working through this book since the beginning of April, and we will continue to read this book and take this book 10 pages at a time for the remainder of the month in honor of Financial Literacy Month, and also in honor of all of the gems that we are able to take up and pick up as a result of reading this book. We are now on day 19. Welcome to day 19, and we have officially covered 190 pages of the book thus far, and we still have a few more pages to go that'll take us right away, all the way down through to the ending of the month. So I hope that you all are ready for today, because I really feel like this is going to be an extremely impactful session just based on the context of the pages that we covered, the history that's in the pages that we covered, and the questions, the dynamic questions that are all throughout the 10 pages that we were assigned to read on today. So as you know, every morning on the community page of the Debt Demolisher TV, there is an announcement that goes out in the morning with a quote that comes from the assigned reading for today. Inside of that caption or inside of that post is also the outlines of what we're covering, the page numbers, and then some starter questions that I often share to give you guys something to think about as you read through this. But today, I really want us to really focus on how we're going to look at these questions for ourselves, how we're going to do these exercises, and how we're going to find a movement, how we're going to create a movement to stand for. So today, I hope you all are ready, because be ready. Let me go ahead and pop out the chat so that way I can see who's in the room and see who's in the building. And that way I can greet my people and we can get this conversation started, because this is going to be a firehouse conversation on today that I'm so looking forward to serving you all in facilitating the conversation. All right. I feel like my lips are a little dry. So I'm just a little something, put a little something. Y'all don't mind. Put a little bit of gloss on it. Okay. All right. So we are audio streaming live on Clubhouse on the Debt Demolisher TV. If you are joining the Debt Demolisher TV's Clubhouse room, feel free to click the link at the top of this Clubhouse room, and it'll take you right on over to the Debt Demolisher TV's YouTube page, where we are live streaming this conversation. So you could always come on over, and when you come on over, make sure that you find a playlist of your choice. If you want the full playlist of what we're covering related to the wealth choice, there is a dedicated playlist on the channel called Legacy Wealth is a Choice, Dr. Dennis Kimbro. That's the name of the playlist on the Debt Demolisher TV. So feel free to play that playlist and go through all of the lessons that we've been going over, at least for the past 18 days and now 19. Okay. All right, you all. So let's see who's in the building. And I'm going to shout out my YouTube family, and we're going to get started. Sherry is in the building, first in the room, saying happy Tuesday, Queen. Happy Tuesday to you, Sherry. Welcome on into this room. I am so glad that you are here. Welcome to tonight's conversation. We got Q Scott in the building saying hello. Hey, Q Scott, so good to see you. Welcome on into this room. I'm so glad that you are here. Hey, Q Scott. Hey, Q Scott. Let's go. Hey, Q Scott. Hey, Q Scott. Let's go, Q Scott. Coach Root is in the building all the way from the west side saying, hello, Q Scott. So good to see you. Welcome on into this room. I'm so glad that you are here. We also got Acacia in the building saying, greetings, ZDTV family. Greetings to you, Acacia. So good to see you. Welcome on into this room. I'm so glad that you are here. Hey, Acacia. Go Acacia. Hey Acacia. Go Acacia. Let's go. Hey Acacia. Y'all say hey to Acacia, everybody. So good that you're in the room. Q Scott says, see the countdown restarted. Take your time. Yes. It restarted. Thank you. Tracy Ann is also in the building saying, hi, everybody. Blessed all the way from the west side. That's right, Tracy Ann. All the way from the what? West side. Welcome on into this room. I'm so glad that you are here. We got Lisa Smiles in the building saying, hey, DDTV. Hey, Lisa Smiles. So good to see you. Welcome on into this room. I'm so glad that you are here. Let's go. Coach Root is in the building. Queen Heart is in the building saying, hey, DDTV fam. Hey, Queen Heart. So good to see you. Welcome on into this room. I'm so glad that you are here. And we also got Peaceful Love in the building, giving us our dances and also our flowers. So welcome on into this room. I'm so glad that you're here, Peaceful Love. And thank you so much for the flowers for the room. Lisa Smile says, do you remember Sherry's song? Lord, I do not remember Sherry's song. I know I came up with the song for yesterday, but I cannot remember the song. Sorry. I'm going to have to go back and listen to the replay from yesterday so I can get it locked in. So sorry, Sherry. I did forget your song. Queen Heart says, Sophia looking beautiful per usual. Love me some nice lip color. Thank you so much, Queen Heart. Thank you. We got Lisa H in the building checking in, and she's going back to class. But thank you so much, Queen Lisa, for coming on in and sliding on in on your break while you are in the middle of your classes. So I'm so glad that you're here on this Tuesday night. But I'm pretty sure tomorrow that you're going to be able to be into the room fully. But you know, your work come first, class come first. But I'm glad that you're able to just check in and pop in. All right. Sherry says, I think it was, hey, Sherry, and something about instant income. Yes, it did say instant income, but I'm trying to remember the flow. I'm going to get it, Sherry. Don't worry. I'm going to get it. Okay. Let's jump in because we got a lot to cover today. So starting on page 181, this is going to close us out pretty much for chapter 4, but I did want us to think about this because honestly and truthfully, we did some of this yesterday when we were looking at our strengths. So one of the things that Dr. Dennis Kimbrough is encouraging all of us to do is engage in an effort to really go through this process of identifying our strengths, identifying our legacies, identifying that one thing, that unique gift. So this is additional questions that you can now continue to elaborate on based on what we did yesterday. If you still have more searching to do, if you still have more things that you want to get clear on, if there's still more digging that you want to do, Dr. Dennis Kimbrough just gave us about 7 more questions that we could ask ourselves to really help us get clear. So I wrote in the margins of this that this should be a must-do exercise for everybody because you never know what may come up as a result of you asking questions. One of the things that I always say, at least for me, and this is just how I work, so many things come up based on the way that I ask myself questions. So for me, questions get me clear. Questions draw information out of me. And not only that, the way you formulate a question will help draw questions out of not only you, but somebody else. So even in the middle of me like coaching and when I'm speaking with people, I have a way to ask them a question that's going to pull up some things. And so I want you to do the same thing by looking at these questions from a different way, which is why Dr. Dennis Kimbrough has some of these in the book for us to really think about what will our legacy be? for us to think about our future, for us to think about our desires, for us to think about our strengths, for us to think about our unique gifts, for us to think about our calling. What were we born to do? What will your legacy be? What will you be? What is your life's purpose? What were you born to do? What is a dream or a vision that sets the course for your life? And I underline this piece because if you were in the Create With Me live stream on Saturday, we started our conversations around idea extraction and innovation and creativity. So the third bullet on page 181 says, share the one idea that you will definitely pursue. So we went through this process in the With Me live stream on Saturday to really look at what our strengths are. What are we good at? What are some things that we naturally do? What interests us? What gets us motivated? And then looking at these things to say, hey, maybe I can create something out of this. Maybe I can create something out of this. So we went through a whole money extraction process on Saturday, money extraction mapping process on Saturday during the Create With Me live stream, how you think like the bank, all kinds of stuff, just creativity. And we talked about the ideas. And even what was one of the things that we said, we're going to choose one out of everything that you listed, you're going to choose one. So there you go. Choose one that you're going to definitely pursue. What do you wish to occur within the next 5 years? This is big. So many of us are only focusing on tomorrow. So many of us may be focused on next month. So many of us may be focusing on next week, but we're not even thinking about 5 years from now. Because if you think about the future, the way that you operate in your day, the way that you operate in your finances, the way that you operate in your behaviors should be positioned to help you get towards whatever that 5-year vision is. But if we don't know what that 5-year vision is, if we don't know what our goal is 5 years from now, which is technically like a midterm goal, because even with my financial goal board, I have it split up between short-term, midterm, and long-term. You got your short-term goal, that's 12 months or less. You got your midterm goals, that's anywhere between 2 to 3, 5 years. Then you have your long-term goal, which is 10 years and beyond. Are you even thinking that far down the line? Are you even thinking 5 years out? What do you wish to occur in your life 5 years from now? Where will you be financially? What keeps you up at night? And I heard people say this question before, what keeps you up at night? But I like the other question that Dr. Dennis Kimbrough put, which is what gets you out of bed each morning? What gets you out of bed each morning? I feel like Q Scott said this in probably several of our live streams, where she put in the comments or she put in the chat box about how she gets energized, like her work, what she does gets her up in the morning. She gets excited about it. That's what your calling and that's what your purpose should do. That's what every day should feel like. You should want to get out of bed instead of dreading getting out of bed because you got to log on to somebody's computer for 10 hours. So much. This was a powerful piece at the bottom of page 181. You will never rise above your level of belief and self-esteem. You will never rise above your level of belief and self-esteem. Decide where you are going. Decide today where you are going next year, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years. Decide where you're going. That's attached to your vision. Paige is in the building. Hey, Paige, so good to see you. Welcome on into this room. I'm so glad that you are here. Let's go. Happy Tuesday to you. All right. I thought that was powerful. Decide where you are going. Begin from where you stand. So once you've decided where you're going, you start from where you are today. Once you've decided where you're going, your starting point starts from where you are today. So that means that there's no looking back, there's no turning back, there's no running back, there's no worrying about the past. No, you're starting from what you've decided, and where you are today is only what is where you're going to be starting from. Not what happened to you 5 years ago, not what came up for you 3 weeks ago, not what financial challenge you might have experienced 3 months ago or 4 months ago. No, you're going to start from today. What can you do today to get you closer or moving forward to that goal, to where you are going. It's in the book. If you know what you want, if you are determined to get it to the point that it becomes an obsession, and you back that obsession with continuous efforts and sound planning, Dr. Dennis Kimbrough says, then you have awakened and stirred the coils of this important law. And that law was what? To thine own self be true. To thine own self be true. And that's going to wrap us up with chapter 4. And one of the things that I wrote at the bottom of chapter 4, and it's something that I want you to be able to think about as well, is what is your calling? So after we've tapped into how many laws now? 4 laws of wealth. We've tapped into 4 laws of wealth. And this chapter 4 is taking us to the ending of the 4th law of wealth. And we should be at a space now where we know what our calling is, and we should be able to identify that calling, and we should be able to name it. Name it. So if you've gone through the exercises, or if you feel like you know, what is your calling? And even if you may not know, you got to ask yourself that question too after you've done all the rest of the exercises. What is your calling? And name it. Okay. All right, we have Anointed Child 76 in the building. Hi, Anointed Child. So good to see you. Welcome on into this room. Anointed Child 71 is saying, hey, I'm new to your channel. Angie in Real Life Raid. Let's go. Hey, Angie in Real Life. So good to see you. Welcome on into this room. I'm so glad that you are here. Super excited. Thank y'all so much. Peaceful Love is giving you some love, Anointed Child, and also Angie in Real Life. So good to see you, sis. And then Coach Root is saying, hey, sisters, Anointed Child and Angie in Real Life. So y'all, remember I was telling you guys about the entrepreneurship video. This is Angie in Real Life. So Angie in Real Life Empowerment TV. This is the channel that I was talking about, where she did a live stream on what is entrepreneurship. So it's on the community page. I shared it out a couple of days ago, when she actually went live a couple of days ago. So you can find it there. So shout out to Angie in Real Life. Yay! Divinity is also in the room. Hey, Divinity, so good to see you. Welcome on into this room. I'm so glad that you are here. Now, let's jump into chapter 5. We are chapter 5 of the book. For those of you who are new, we are covering The Wealth Choice by Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. We have been taking this book 10 pages at a time since the start of April in honor of Financial Literacy Month. We are now on day 19, which means we have read through now 190 pages of the book. We will continue to take this book 10 pages at a time until the ending of the month, and we will be able to wrap up by the 30th. So if you want to join us, feel free to get your copy of The Wealth Choice wherever books are sold. If you want to get the paperback version, if you want to get the audio book, some of us have the audio book, some of us have the Kindle version, but please feel free to get your copy of the book and join us on these conversations for the rest of the month. There's also a dedicated playlist for all of the live streams that's related to our Wealth Choice conversation called Legacy. Wealth is a Choice, Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. All right, so let's go into chapter 5. Chapter 5, how may I serve thee, which is the 5th law of wealth. I want to read this opening quote because I don't know if everybody caught it, but I'm going to read this opening quote because I thought it was powerful, and I had to circle a little piece that really made me think about enterprise as a whole. But here it is. Dr. King and I integrated the lunch counter, but we never integrated the dollar. And to live in a system of free enterprise and yet not understand the rules of free enterprise, that's the definition of slavery. And this is Andrew Young who said that. Now, this quote was powerful because sometimes I feel like we put ourselves in a system that we don't even really understand. Can we just talk about it today? I feel like sometimes we put ourselves in a system that we really don't understand, meaning how to play inside of the game, meaning all of the rules, meaning how, shall I say more? How to navigate, how to position ourselves. We don't do that. So when we started to read chapter 5, there was so many gems in here, just by reading through history. We all know that Dr. Martin Luther King is a profound figure, has made a huge impact on the world, society as a whole, especially for the African American community. If it were not for his efforts, if it were not for people who asked him to stand up or asked him to support whatever this movement was, then we wouldn't even be here or experience the things that we are experiencing right now in our lives. Can we just call it what it is? Can we just call it what it is? So Dr. Martin Luther King, and I'm reading from page 183, opening section from chapter 5. Dr. Martin Luther King was not a wealthy man. At the height of his career, Dr. Dennis Kimbrough writes that he was spearheading the civil rights movement. He never earned more than $10,000 a year. Dr. Martin Luther King, who was spearheading the largest movement in history, did not make more than $10,000 a year. At the age of 35, King was the youngest person to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. But check this out. When he was notified of the honor, he announced that he would give his prize money to further the cause for justice and equality. Dr. Martin Luther King received a cash prize and said that he would give the $54,123 to support the cause of serving the possibility in the future and the freedom and in equality for a whole race. When he was only making $10,000 a year, he wasn't thinking about his own needs. He wanted to pour into his purpose. He wanted to pour what was important to him. He wanted to make sure that whatever movement was starting, that it was going to be able to be funded so that it could continue. No selfishness. No selfishness. It says that King was more than aware of the forge and logic behind the fifth law of wealth, which is, how may I serve thee? Serving others. Dr. Dennis Kimbrough goes into giving some of the context around the boycott with Rosa Parks, and how when she got arrested, the whole community came together and was like, oh no, we are boycotting the buses. We ain't riding. We are not riding. Nobody get on the bus. You gonna walk, you gonna carpool, you gonna drive, but you're not getting on that bus. You're not getting on that bus. And it was a choice. It was a choice to give up your convenience for something bigger than yourself. To give up your convenience for something bigger than yourself that could serve you and I, that's watching, that's listening, that's hearing right now. So what happened? At the bottom of page 184, it says, within 48 hours of Rosa Parks' arrest, the Black community called for a one-day boycott. They called for a one-day bus boycott. So that Monday, Blacks walked, they rode mules, they drove horse-drawn buggies, they traveled to work in private cars. And here's the outcome of that. One day, this was one day, the hastily organized boycott was more than 99% effective and took a toll on Montgomery's bus line before economically crippling this vibrant Southern city. I circled that part and I said, boom, that's pure evidence of the power of your dollar. That is pure evidence of the power of your money. Pure evidence. Pure evidence. Let us stop spending. Let us stop spending to create a movement. Let us stop spending to let our voice and our dignity be heard. What you think gonna happen? When you hit people in their pockets, oh, they gonna listen. They gonna listen. Further, a little bit further down says, to direct the protest, the boycott committee soon became the Montgomery Improvement Association, and it selected Dr. Martin Luther King at 25 years old to lead the organization. 25-year-old preacher elected and selected to serve as the core orchestrator, leader, spearhead of this organization. And I love that this section said marketing 101. And as soon as I saw the subsection, I was like, create a movement. Like create a movement and mean it. Like create a movement and mean it. When I was reading through this piece, and I'm gonna read it in a second, but I was thinking about like when I first started the channel. When I first started the channel, I wanted to create a movement. And I even say that like in my videos, like in the beginning video, I said something along the lines of creating the movement of making debt freedom the new norm and wealth building the natural nature of habit. That used to be the thing that I would say to introduce my videos all the time. Welcome to the Sophia Melonē show, where we make debt freedom the new norm and wealth building the natural nature of habit. If you watch any of my older videos, you're going to hear that all the time. You're going to hear that all the time. Not saying that even though I don't say it verbally to open up my videos anymore, that doesn't mean that the mission and the purpose isn't still there, because that's still the ultimate reason. This whole experience is creating a movement or fulfilling the movement to make debt freedom the new norm and wealth building the natural nature of habit, the natural nature of our habit. So create a movement. It's powerful. You know what? I'm gonna show y'all something real quick, and then we're gonna go back into our convo. Let me see if I can do this real quick. All right. Okay. So this is the front of my channel. I want to show y'all. This right here is the first video that I ever published on the channel. And this was 4 years ago. Y'all see this? 4 years ago, November 29th, 2017 was when I actually hit publish on this video, because I had uploaded it, but I never released it until the ending of the month. So I had uploaded it maybe around whenever I started the channel, November 10th, 2017, uploaded the video, but I kept it private. But on November the 29th, I published it. And so I'm gonna go ahead and play it. And look, they put, y'all, my channel not even monetizing. They got ads on my channel. They got ads on my video. All right, I want y'all here.
Everyone, I'm Sophia, the Debt Demolisher, and I want to welcome you to the Sophia Melonē Show, where we make debt freedom the new norm and wealth building the natural nature of habit. After the massive success I had in paying off over $83,000 of debt in 21 months, yes, I said it. Over $83,000 of debt in less than 2 years I paid off. It hit me that there's so many people out here that could use my help. So to give you a bit of a background on me, I was over $300,000 in debt. And honestly, I was okay with making the minimum payments every month, just as long as I could afford it, right? I held several jobs and I was living paycheck to paycheck, really honestly thinking that this was the norm for adulthood. Growing up in my household, debt was definitely normal and saving was not an enforced discussion. Like, we really didn't talk about it. But one day in January 2016, and of course, this is long after I'm out of my mom's house and on my own, right? I decided to wake up. Like, I finally woke up. I was fed up with living check to check, tired of slaving at a job that I was not passionate about. And I really wanted to experience life instead of dedicating over 50 plus hours of every week just to survive the debt cycle, just to survive it. So I decided to embark in my debt freedom journey, and it by far has been the best decision I could have ever made for myself. And not only for myself and for my future, but for households and businesses across the globe. Yes, this is a movement, a serious movement. And that is exactly why I am so adamant and passionate about sharing my story so that people can see that it is possible. It's possible. However, I do understand that people may struggle when it comes to implementing the tools they receive around finances or debt management and wealth building. And it can really be tough. I mean, really be tough to achieve success when you don't have the blueprint or the support, for that matter, to get you to the finish line. And let me tell you, strategy and accountability, those are the core attributes of implementation in order to achieve success. And that is exactly what I do. I serve individuals and businesses or business owners with the strategy and the accountability they need to get them the ultimate financial freedom they desire and deserve. I love what I do. I love helping my clients. I love seeing them leap towards their financial prosperity. It just brings me so much joy. And financial abundance is something that everyone can obtain. We all can obtain it. It's just that, some of us aren't in a position to receive the resources that are available and actually implement them. And implementation is the key. But with the power of the internet and social media, every single person in this world can have access to free resources. And I'll say that again, free resources that will literally change your life and transform your mind, if those principles are applied, of course. And that's exactly why I started this platform on YouTube, to help you implement and help you be aware. So if you are ready for the transformation of your life, here's what I want you to do. Number 1, like this video and leave a comment below indicating that you are ready. Number 2, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you won't miss a beat when the next episode is released. And finally, number 3, I want you to share this video with at least 5 friends so that they can learn and grow right along with you. So you know what time it is? It's go time. I'm so excited. And it's time to strap on your seatbelts and put on your action caps, because it's definitely about action in this room, and embark on your debt freedom journey and wellness transformation journey and financial abundance journey. It's your time. It is your time. So get your writing pads and your journals ready, because I'm going to be feeding you with a lot of information, and I want you to take notes so you can put them into action. So I hope you're excited, because I'm excited for you, because your financial prosperity awaits you. So let me formally welcome you aboard, and I want you to enjoy the next episode of the Sophia Melonē Show.
Oh my gosh, y'all, I have not watched that in so long. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've seen that. I'm sorry, I didn't plan on playing the whole thing out, but I just had to just listen for a while. And I was like, man. And you heard the guys. I mean, you guys heard that. I talked about movement. I talked about how passionate I am, and all of that was true. All of that was true. And I remember I noticed I was looking down, but I remember there was like a timer, because one of the things that the coach had told me, like, because she was like, oh, if you want to get free advice, just start a YouTube channel. So that's why I actually started the channel. And I was like, you know what? She's right. I do want to share information. I do want to, give insight. And so, but I didn't know anything about starting a channel and doing all of that stuff. And, I thought you had to be perfect and sound good and all of that stuff. And so I had a time, because she was like, keep it to 6 minutes. So I think that video, I closed out, but I think it was 6 minutes on the dot, because I was looking down to make sure that I wouldn't go over the time, because I had the little timer going to tell me how long it was. But yes, y'all, that was the first video that I ever put out. And actually, let me see, how many times did I have to record it? I probably only had to record it like maybe 2 or 3 times, because remember, I was telling you guys I didn't know how to edit stuff. So I didn't know. So I just had to keep recording until it was clean. But this one it was just like an opening one. So I was just kind of talking from the heart. So I think I only had to redo it twice when I like messed up or swallowed too hard or paused for too long and all of that. But yeah, y'all, that was from November the 29th, 2017. Well, actually November the 10th, 2017, but it just didn't get published until the 29th. So yeah, y'all. That's the power of a movement. And back then, I didn't know that it was going to turn into this. I didn't know that it was going to turn into each and every one of you beautiful souls who watch, who tune in, who join the live streams, and are able to do exactly what the mission is. Apply what you learn. Experience a transformation in your finances. That was the title of that video. Transform your financial life. Well, transform your finances, whatever I named it. It was transform something. And y'all are here doing this work today. Y'all are here. So that's the power of an intention and the power of focusing on a movement that is designed to make a difference. That's designed to make a difference. That's all I really wanted to be able to do. Make a positive difference in somebody else's life so that they can not have to deal with some of the things that I dealt with, or they could overcome whatever financial shame that they may be experiencing so that they can live a fulfilled life going forward. So when I saw Marketing 101, I wrote in the margins, create a movement, exclamation, with hearts on it. Because essentially, that's what your focus should be on, the change, the difference that you want to make, and not necessarily just focusing on the desperation of allowing your stuff to be seen so that it can be sold. Does that make sense? All right. Now, I'm not a marketing expert, but That's just my take on it. But again, I need a marketing strategy because I clearly don't have one. So, but I want to read this as we read through Dr. King's plan and how he orchestrated things when he was selected to be the leader of the Montgomery Improvement Association. So Dr. Dennis Kimbro writes in the book on page 185 that Dr. King's routine kind of looked like this. After his morning coffee, a glass of orange juice, and an hour in prayer and meditation, he would make his way down to the office at his church. His first stroke of business was to draft a sophisticated marketing plan. His first order of business was to draft a sophisticated marketing plan, focused on sharing the story. Focused on sharing the story. Another piece, he said, to measure his reach, he began to leverage other people, 5,000, right? He also says that he took his message global by tapping supporters as far away as Europe, India, and the Far East. In less than a year, Dr. Martin Luther King was able to raise $600,000, but fundraising was only part of the picture. Check this out. Dr. King began to experience some orchestrated shenanigans by Montgomery officials when they tried to freeze their organization's assets. So you know what happens when they put a freeze on your assets? You don't have no access to the money. You don't have access to money. And if you don't have access to money, then how can you really make the power moves that you need to make? Because y'all know money talk and something else walk. So he says that King had funds scattered around the country and out of reach in northern banks. Out of reach in northern banks. And what did I write in the margins? See, this is a prime example that even back then, diversification is important. You cannot put all your eggs in one basket. You cannot have all of your assets in one place. Because if something gets held up, if something gets put a rein on, how are you going to be able to navigate? You got to diversify. If something drops, if the market drops and all of your money is in one spot, how are you going to pick yourself up off the floor? Because you failed to diversify. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. Even Dr. King is showing y'all that that's what he did. He had money all over the place. Not in one place. Offshore. Out of in-country reach. And what else does it say after that? With sound cash flow. Can we talk about cash flow for a minute? Sound cash flow. One of the most important analytics that you should be doing in your finances, as well as even in your business, is a cash flow analysis. Is a cash flow analysis. Oftentimes we rely so much on credit that we don't even really know how much cash we have. And we know that cash is king. We know that cash is king. We are reading a book inside of Patreon. For those of us who are on Patreon, then y'all know that the video for this week went out today and it was a good one. I know it was long. It was 14 minutes, but I need you to listen to it and I need you to do the work that's associated with it because we're going to have our private Patreon only live stream coming up on the 30th. That announcement is going out tomorrow, but I just told y'all. So we got one live stream on the 24th and then we have another one on the 30th. Ouch. So save the date in advance, but the post is going to go out tomorrow. But we're talking about money. We're talking about investing in that book. We're talking about a lot of different things. And one of the things that we are actually talking about is like what money means to us and looking at money from a different form, but understanding that cash flow is important. I'm adding that now. Cash flow is important. So if you really want to know how your money doing, run a cash flow statement. run your cash flow statement so that way you can see where your money is really coming from. Is it coming from like wage income, or is it coming from investing activities? Is it coming from financing activities? All right. Page 186. This was something powerful that I took from this, because what Dr. Dennis Kimbrough shared about Dr. King was that he doubled his staff in order to keep up with increased communication demands and pounding out nearly 100 letters and press releases a day. So what I circle from this piece is knowing when to increase your manpower, knowing when to hire external sources, knowing when to outsource in order to really support the demands of your business. So many times, a lot of us outsource things that we could actually do ourselves. A lot of times we outsource things just to be able to say that we pay a person, just to be able to say that we have staff, just to be able to say we have a team. But was the need even really there for you to be able to request the team or have the team? So what I took from this is knowing when you need to add on staff or add on resources in order to keep up with whatever demand is within your business. This is from a business standpoint. He also talked about image in here. This piece was good. I don't know if anybody picked that up, about he was like, if you're going to show up, if you're going to show up on these marches, if you're going to show up with me, you better come in your Sunday best. You better come in your Sunday best, because we got to represent. But he had a image that he wanted the media to be able to see, but it was for a specific purpose. The picture was painted beautifully if you read the whole story here. Very smart. And we see those pictures on images from prior newspapers and all of that. The march, the Selma Bridge, we see all of that. Were they not all suited and booted? Were they not all dressed up? Were they not all even in little small heels? It was a strategic decision that Dr. King said. He insisted that whoever marched with him had to wear their Sunday best. There's so much to unpack in here. There's so much to unpack in here. I want to talk to you all about this piece too, because I think it's important, and it ties into basically the impact that they were able to make, and when they were able to formally, in the boycott, because made enough movement, made enough traction, they ended the boycott. And what Dr. Martin Luther King said to those who were in the church, or who was supporting, or who was a part of the movement, or who was a part of the marches, he urged them that when they get back on that bus, do not boast. When you get back on that bus, do not boast in pride. What does he say? He admonished his followers not to gloat, but to take their victory humbly. Take their victory humbly. So we can even tie this to a financial space. We can even tie this to our credit scores. We can even tie this to however much we're able to grow our savings account. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard from people who have gotten their credit from a very bad score and got it to a very high score by using like credit repair companies and different things of that nature to just get stuff deleted and all of that. And their score jumps, and they're boasting and praising about this 825 score that they have. But within a month, their score is back down below 600, and they don't understand why. but they've been boasting about this 825. We have to be careful not to boast. And I wrote in the margins, be careful not to boast once you get out of your financial ruins. Once you get out of your financial situation, be careful not to boast. And we know that there's a difference between boasting and just being excited. There's a huge difference. Because, you know, when you, I don't know, I ain't going to speak too much on that, but y'all get the picture. You get the picture. Dr. Dennis Kimbrough says that he shares this historical tidbit, giving us the background on Dr. Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks and a lot of the stories that we already know. He says that he shares this historical information not to analyze King's marketing or organizational processes. He says, because though his management skills are worthy of emulation, he's sharing this historical tidbit with us to show us how Dr. Martin Luther King used the fifth law of wealth to literally change the racial, economic, political direction of our world. And what was that? Through service, selfless service, might I add. I want to read this because I wrote Jesus in the margins. He says, by now you should have a deeper understanding of the fundamentals of wealth and prosperity. It should be encouraging to note that the fifth law is well within reach of those who care to embrace it. It is by this method that you can transform the little that you possess into much. How, if you may question? By thinking differently, by not only serving others, but adding value. So how do you add value? How do you add value? How do you bring value? Because when you begin to make a difference in the lives of others, Dr. Dennis Kimbrough says this on page 182. When you do, you are well on your way to building your own fortune, making a difference in the lives of others, whatever that looks like. There was something that I really want to read, and I really want to make sure that we get through this because it was powerful, and I know it was a lot to read, but this is the story about how the whole tribute to Dr. Martin Luther King came about on a national mall. So y'all know I'm in the Washington, D.C. area. So this was a huge thing. I'm pretty sure everybody knows about it, but it was a huge thing when the unveiling of it was ready and when they were announcing it and it was being built. And it's beautiful to see. It's beautiful to see. I did a photo shoot down at the memorial. This was years ago. I did a photo shoot down at the memorial, probably like in 2017, 2018. Probably it was 2018. I think it was 2018. I did a photo shoot down at the memorial. Beautiful. All the quotes and everything. It really moves you when you go down there. But this talks about how it came about. So we know that Dr. Martin Luther King was a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. He was a member of that organization. The actual memorial was pushed and backed and really kind of thought of by members of A5A. That's the short for Alpha Phi Alpha, A5A. So they pushed and they went through this process and they went through this whole system of trying to get the government on board, trying to get Congress on board, trying to get everybody on board to be okay with getting this monument built to honor such an amazing human being who changed the trajectory of the African-American race, whole life as a whole for us. He says that the fraternity was able to get the green light to start the movement, but they gave them the green light with doubt. They gave them the green light thinking they ain't even going to be able to get this done. They ain't going to be able to get this done. What did they say? Here's the plan. Here's the site. Now go raise $120 million or you're going to be the folks who failed. This is what they said to them. Your credibility is on the line. I had to underline that. Your credibility is on the line. They didn't think that they could do it. But guess what? They didn't realize that there are connections and there are people who are willing to come together for a greater cause to make a difference. Even if that means you got to put up your own money. Even if that means you got to put up your own money. So they had to raise $120 million. And they had to find someone who would spearhead the project. And that person was Harry E. Johnson. He is an attorney and businessman straight out of Houston, Texas. Come on, Q Scott. Straight out of Houston, Texas. And Johnson begins to tell his story about how tiring it was, how challenging it was, how difficult it was, how much convincing he had to do, how much proposals he had to do, so much to get people to say yes. And what did he say? He said, when you must convince a potential donor that Dr. King really deserves a spot on the mall, he says, when you've got to convince people, it's really disheartening. It's really disheartening. But he was able to work some magic. He was able to identify sponsors, donors, and personal contributors. So I want to read this. He says, when millions of people visit the King Memorial, they will see listed the names of multi-billion-dollar corporations, but they will also see the names of churches that sacrifice funds for something that is bigger than their local congregation and community. The King Monument, Johnson explains, was financed by average men and women, Black and white, who felt compelled to give a $70 gift. Here is what I want you guys to really hear and take from this reading. No amount is too small. No amount is too small. This is why I always share when I'm talking to you guys about paying yourself first, allocating it. I don't care if it's $5. I don't care if it's $10. I don't care if it's $2. It's a matter of putting yourself on the habit and the practice of consistently paying yourself, regardless of the amount, because it's about the practice, not necessarily the dollar. Because what we always know is that repetition will grow. Repetition causes increase. Repetition causes growth. So if you're constantly getting $70 here, 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 shall I continue to count? Do the math. Do the math. So average men and women contributed $70 gifts, and it made this monument to be able to happen in the time frame in which it did. Yes, they had support by multi-million-dollar corporations, but let's not forget the individual contributors who donated the $70, the $10, the $20, because every little bit adds up. No amount is too small is what I wrote in the margins. No amount is too small, and that every contribution counts. Every contribution counts. So if you got to pay yourself $10 a week, every contribution counts. If you got to pay yourself $5 a day, every contribution counts. If you got to pay yourself $100 a month, every contribution counts. get in the habit and the practice of being a donor to you. Come on. Get in the habit of being a donor to you. Shall we continue? I think we shall. Harry Johnson's effort was a decade-long effort before the creation of the monument could actually come to full fruition and be done and be revealed. This was a 10-year journey. And what does he say? On October 16, 2011, as the world watched the national memorial of the iconic civil rights leader, 48 years after King delivered his I Have a Dream speech, was dedicated. This historic moment was the pinnacle of Harry Johnson's decade-long effort. He says that the significance of this is that Dr. Martin Luther King is the first non-president and first African-American immortalized on the National Mall. I want to read this piece further down because I think it's very powerful what Johnson revealed about his motive to keep going, because Dr. Dennis Kimbrough asked him a question about like what really kept him. How does he think that this was able to be created as a success? And Johnson revealed, he says that at those very moments when I contemplated throwing in the towel and allowing someone else to handle the headaches. How many times do we reach those moments where we just want to throw in the towel and let somebody else deal with it? I can raise my hand because I have those feelings a lot. I be wanting to give in on some stuff. Primarily a lot of my caregiver responsibilities. Sometimes I'll be like, Lord, just let somebody else do it, but it ain't nobody to do it. I thought about Dr. King. He says, I mean, here's a man who, when given a choice, didn't think twice. For my and my future generations, here was an individual who chose to endure the beatings, undergo the hardship, turn a cheek to the degradation, put up with the indecency, tolerate the iniquities, and withstand the oppression in order that I could possibly enjoy a better life. He says the least I can do is try to make a difference, to try to leave this world in a better condition than what I found. I owe it to Dr. King to continue the struggle forward. That was so powerful. And that leads into our quote for the morning, which was, of all the questions asked by those who dare to walk under the banner of millionaire, only a handful stand above the rest. How will you serve your fellow man? How will you add value? So can you all take some time to think about how you want to add value? Let's just take money off the table for a little bit. Let's not just think about the dollar amount that we want to reach. Let's think about how you want to add value, how you want to serve your fellow man. I know one of the ways in which I serve my fellow man is doing these live streams, creating these videos. Since the start of this channel, how else am I serving my fellow man? Sitting on calls, helping people with strategy, helping them talk through things, giving them a source of direction that they were actually able to think through. Just being a resource for the betterment of their life. That's it. That's all I want, is to be a resource for the betterment of somebody else's life. So how will you add value? How will you serve your fellow man? What does the chapter say? How may I serve thee? How may I serve thee? On page 190, and then we're going to close out. We're right on time. Page 90 was a powerful opening subsection, chance of a lifetime. And I want us to go through this and use our day today, if you have more time, or use your days throughout the week, use your weekend that's coming up to really think about the chance of your lifetime. Really think about the life that you want to be able to create for you. Really think about what difference you want to make in this world to be a contribution. So at the top of page 190, have you ever considered the possibility of thinking in different directions? Dr. Dennis Kimbrough says that think about how you could create something new, in your business or in your chosen vocation. Remember, nothing is done to perfection. Nothing is final or complete. I'm going to pause right here because we did the Create With Me live stream on Saturday, and that was getting our juices flowing. That was helping us extract. That was helping us think of things to create. Remember, we did the money extraction map. We put the target in the middle and we started drawing the lines out to see, okay, well, how can we get here? What can make this possible? So with that, we also want to remember that nothing is final. So what you started on Saturday, you could always change. What you started on Saturday, you could always revisit. What you started on Saturday, you could always tweak. What you started on Saturday, you could always expand. Nothing is final. Nothing is final or complete. You could always modify. Change is inevitable. Change is guaranteed. Change will happen. Nothing will never stay the same. I had a reflective moment when I was thinking about the times of take your daughter to work day. And I told you all how my mom would take me to work with her. And I would sit over top of the accountants, or mainly one, because he was the one who would let me sit with them. And he would talk to me and he would show me the ledgers. And I remember, y'all, these ledgers were huge. They were like huge ledgers that like took up the desk, and he had to physically write the transactions. He had to balance the books. He had to do the trial balance to get the financials together for all of this money that they were managing. Big old ledgers. And honestly and truthfully, I don't even think that man is still alive, because I was so young and he was a lot older than my mom. And I was just thinking of how I do accounting today. I ain't touching no ledgers. I barely touch paper. Everything is on the computer. Everything is inside of a system. Everything is in a spreadsheet. I don't touch a physical paper ledger. But this man who was gifted in his task, who operated his accounting skills on a big ledger paper, I bet he probably didn't even think that we would be doing accounting the way that we do accounting today. But nothing stays the same. Change is inevitable. We should expect change in every aspect of life. So even think about where you are today and understand that what you see today, what you experience today, what you're able to do today is going to be obsolete in the years to come. It's going to be obsolete in the years to come. So we can't even get attached to what we're doing now. We can't even get attached to what we're seeing now. We can't even get attached to what we're driving now. We can't get attached because it's going to change. I have a whole collection of CDs, y'all. When I was at my mom's house the other day and we were doing this other clean out, I found some more of my old CDs, like throwbacks, 702, Imagine, throwbacks. Now, cars don't even have CD players in it no more. Now, computers don't even have disk drives anymore. Things change. Technology changes. We go through advancements. So we got to brace ourselves for the advancement. We got to stay up to date and expect change because it's normal. Dr. Dennis Kimbrough says that if you are to join the Millionaire Club, you will be forced to add value. You will be forced to add value. You will be forced to think in different ways. You will be forced to think boldly. You will be forced to think in unique ways. If you want to join that millionaire life, if you want to join that Millionaires Club, I want to close out with this because this was powerful. Dr. Dennis Kimbrough said that he was at a conference in Bahamas where Mike Roberts, I'm pretty sure you guys might have heard of Mike Roberts. I see a lot of interviews with him as well. A lot of people like to interview him, Mike V. Roberts. And there was a conference. This woman comes up to the podium or whatever and asks a question, or come up to the aisle to ask the question. And at this particular point in time, we were in the middle of a recession. It's probably the 2008 recession. And she asked a question, which is on page 190, and then we'll close out. This woman says, given the current recession and the depressing state of affairs, what can a small business person such as myself do? This is going to tie full circle. It's going to tie into today. But what can a small business person such as myself do? Michael V. Roberts replied to this woman with the following. So if you even think about whatever situation you may be going through, we had COVID that just happened. We're still trying to get out of this whole COVID wave, but things are still kind of tight, and for some folks financially, still challenges getting around that. He says, for openers, the current economic state is not depressing. Interest rates are super low. Industries are being reinvented. And the housing market is wide open. Right here on this tiny island, your countrymen and women have launched social movements, learned new skills, and built billion-dollar enterprise. Hear this, y'all. Hear this. Trust me. The current recession will end, and each of us will be forced to answer the question, what did you do when interest rates were at their lowest in 50 years? When technology was growing through the roof? When corporations were fighting over talented employees? And when society was searching for the next big thing? That's what you need to be focusing on wanting to answer. So many times we are so focused on the current situation, the Debbie Downiness, instead of looking for the innovation, instead of looking for the opportunity. I told y'all, well, maybe I didn't tell y'all, but I told my group, because this was when I had my financial coaching group, the last cohort of the financial coaching group, we had a private Facebook group, but y'all know I haven't been on Facebook and I don't know how long. So now I'm over here. But I went live, and I might have shared the video here when I talked about the recession. It may be on the channel, but I shared the same thing where I talked about you got to be able to take advantage of the down. When you are up, when you are doing well, when you when there isn't any economic struggle or any of that stuff, you got to position yourself to prepare yourself for the down. Because I always say that there's always going to be an up and there's always going to be a down, but you got to make sure that you know where you're going to be to take advantage of the down, to position yourself to take advantage of the down. So when COVID happened and stuff started shutting down and people were going crazy and fretting, oh no, you know what this system was over here doing? I'm telling y'all, the minute the Federal Reserve dropped them interest rates, I mean, the minute them interest rates dropped, I said, how I'm gonna take advantage of this? I'm gonna go refinance. I'm gonna get my mortgage lower. I'm gonna cut my loan term in half. I went to work. I looked for the opportunity. I wasn't tripping off of the downslide and all of that. I was like, okay, how can I take advantage of this? How can I take advantage of this? Because I had been positioning myself. So my credit score was 840 something. My credit score, I had the coins, I had the resources. So I could do that. So when it was time for me to refinance, I knew that my credit score was going to take a hit, but I knew it wasn't going to go under 800. I knew that for a fact. So how are you going to position yourself to take advantage of the down? That's the difference. And that's what Michael Roberts is talking about. When the recession ends, when this economic impact, pandemic, whatever ends, how are you going to answer the question, what did you do when interest rates were at their lowest? What did you do when interest rates were at their lowest? What did you do? And what did you create when society was searching for the next best thing? What did you create? What did you do? You have a chance to create a chance of a lifetime. I want to challenge us today to stop thinking about our problems and focus on innovation. I want us to look at everything as an opportunity. Find the opportunity even in the chaos. Find the opportunity even in the disappointment. Find the opportunity even in the stress. Find the opportunity. It's there. You just have to fixate your mind on identifying it. You got to focus on that instead of the sorrow. You got to focus on that instead of the problem. You got to focus on that instead of the disappointment. You got to focus on that instead of all of the chaos. Stand for your calling and create a movement. Find ways to take advantage of every problem to turn it into an opportunity. Because every problem is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to present an opposite outcome. Every problem presents a way for it to be transferred into an opportunity to solve whatever that direct problem is or was. One more thing, and we're going to close out. I added a couple of more videos inside of the Wealth Choice playlist because I listened to Tony Gaskin's video today and I can't even remember which one it was, but I put it in there because it was so powerful. I think it was about, let me see if I can find it. but I just listened to it today, but I think he put it out a while ago. No, I had to remind myself as a man. I think that might have came out today, but I feel like it was another one I listened to, but maybe I didn't save that in here. But that one was powerful. So I saved that one inside of the Legacy, the Wealth Choice playlist, because he was talking a lot about ideas. He was talking about innovation. He was talking about all of this stuff. And I was like, man, this is the stuff that we're talking about in the Wealth Choice. This is the stuff that we're reading in the Wealth Choice. This is the stuff that we're doing. So the alignment is there, everybody. The alignment is there. We just got to be willing to put in this work. We got to be willing to expand our minds. We got to be willing to keep thinking of ideas to create, because every problem presents an opportunity. All right. All right. Divinity says, everyone, yes, overlooked, some abused by family and society as a whole. It's really disheartening when a person can't speak up and out to defend or out in their defense. That's true. That's true. Lisa smiles. So many are marginalized or overlooked for not hitting the cookie cutter criteria to get a job. Yep. I serve my fellow man by speaking up for the underprivileged senior communities. Thank you, Divinity, for what you do. Thank you, Divinity, for what you do. Yes. Q Sky says our elders are mistreated and overlooked. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. They are mistreated and they are overlooked. And it's challenging. It's challenging. And this is why I got to tell y'all too, because y'all know my mom is in her senior ages. But I thank God for the people that's serving her at the hospital right now. I thank God for the team. I thank God for her team. The social worker, she got my number on speed dial. We be texting. She was like, okay, when will you be able to do a video call? Your mom wants to be able to see you. We were able to successfully get her to do. They working as a team because they are monitoring her there. And then they're able to communicate with me so I can kind of let them know, like, I don't know. It's a long story, but I just love the collaborativeness of how we're all working together. And I'm so grateful for the team that's helping and serving my mom, because even the social worker was like, I'm so glad, because they were getting ready to release my mom. They were getting ready to release her, and it would not have been anything that they could do about it, because it would have been a court thing. But everything worked out. And she was like, I'm so glad, because she said, I really feel like at this time, your mom would have not been ready to come home, and everything would have happened all over again. And we would have been right back in the same situation. She said, now we have more time and we can really get things planned out. We can really think. So that's evidence, like you saying, Divinity, like how you are a spokesperson. You are serving in the community to help those who really can't even help themselves. And not only that, you're being a blessing to the family or whatever family member that is there to kind of somewhat support. Because I know sometimes when people get older, some of their kids, they abandon, they disregard their parents, they disregard the elderly because they don't want to deal with it. Not realizing that sometimes they under dementia and they don't even know what they're doing. They lose their memory. They don't remember anything. They get attitudes. They get angry. It's beautiful. All right. Wow, this is powerful, you guys. This is powerful. All right, y'all. So with that, we're going to go ahead and close out, because I know I kept y'all a little bit longer, so forgive me. And I want to remind you that your financial prosperity awaits you, and so does your financial sanity. Make sure that you come back tomorrow. Reading assignment. We're going to continue to read from page 191 all the way to 200. We're going to be at page 200 tomorrow. So if you have the audio book, then of course, you know that you're listening through Chance of a Lifetime. So you can start there. And then you'll end up wrapping up at There Is No Shame in the Pursuit of the Mighty Dollar. There is no shame in the pursuit of the mighty dollar. All right. All right, you guys, so that's the reading assignment. Look out for the community post tomorrow, and I look forward to seeing you all back here 7 p.m., 7:30-ish. I'll try to share the announcements of when the time will actually go live, but just look out for around that time frame, and then I'll see you guys then. So your financial prosperity awaits you, and so does your financial sanity. You already know what I'm going to tell you to do, and that's what? Get to work. All right. Bye.
The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melone. The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melone. The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia